What's the scariest insider fact from your job? Story 1. Climbing into an unventilated manhole can kill you in seconds, and you wouldn't even know anything was seriously wrong. You think that's air you're breathing now? Manholes can fill with gases that are heavier than breathable air. You think you are breathing normally, but instead you fall unconscious and suffocate from lack of oxygen. Story 2. Probably how painful and long dying naturally can take. I work in memory care and have cared for so many people dying. It's not a nice conversation with a loved one and then peacefully drifting off to sleep like in the movies. Sometimes it can take days, up to 2 weeks once they transition before they take their last breath. Sometimes they scream and writhe for days while unconscious until they pass. Morphine should be a human right. Assisted suicide should be a human right. Story 3. Lifeguard, I cannot explain to you how quiet and how fast drowning is. Even people with some idea tend to think, okay, so barely any noise. No, there's nothing. You might get some splashing right at the beginning if someone's just panicking, but I've seen an adult man get into trouble with absolutely no sound. Even if someone can get their mouth out of the water, they're so locked in on breathing and not dying that they won't yell. Their arms and legs are under the water, and they're struggling so hard that nothing can make it to the surface to splash. You won't hear it. Please, please, please do not take your eyes off your kids in water. Even the bath, for even a second. That's all it takes. In my career, I've seen drowning, but I have been fortunate enough to not see drowned. Would love for it to stay that way. Story 4. The laxity in healthcare facilities. The staff is under such stress, here in Canada anyways, that a lot of corners are cut to try and save time, but it eventually always comes back to bite you in the ass. Hygiene protocols not respected. Patients left in their filth because you have one nurse for 40 people with alarms going off everywhere. Sterilization processes not being followed as they should, increasing the risk of nosocomial disease. The list can go on. I remember starting to work and being all happy about helping people. And in the long run, you have to adapt to the shitty place because if you try to follow the norms, you will quickly get reprimanded by wasting time, resources, or whatever by your superiors. The longer I work by helping, the more bitter I become. You're basically fighting a battle that cannot be won, no matter the effort you put in. It is sad because at the end of the day, the patient will be the one to suffer. Not saying all employees do their work correctly. Hell no. I see plenty of lazy-ass people, but the system rewards those people the same as the one breaking his balls off trying to fix it. The longer I try to do good, the more cynical I become in this society. Story 5. I work in a state mental health care hospital. We have many patients with violent histories, even some that are incarcerated, but placed in the hospital for competency evaluation or as a judgment penalty. They tell many stories to new employees in orientation. One is told to emphasize the importance of observing and protecting patients in temporary restraint. Many years ago, before they had the rule of continuous one-on-one observation on restrained patients, a man was placed in a restraint chair and left alone for several minutes in a hallway. Another patient came up and decided to pull the restrained man's eyes out. I can't imagine being in that poor man's position. We have to sit in the restraint chair and be strapped down during training, so we see how it feels to be unable to move, and to emphasize the importance of fixing the strap so the patient can't harm themselves or anyone else, but also not so tight that they lose their breath or regular blood flow. When my turn came, I kept thinking about the terror that man must have felt. Unable to move, unable to escape or fight back. The only chance of help is to call for staff that you also don't trust because they just put you in this position. It's so fucked. Story 6. Former child actor. Quiet on the Set is probably one of the most accurate depictions of the child entertainment industry you can currently get. The industry is not built around keeping your children safe and happy. They will be exploited, whether that's through making them do sexual stunts, lines, scenarios, turning their physical appearance into the butt of a joke, or simply being unable to express discomfort about something they're asked to do. I was very lucky. No one ever abused me that way. But there are things I've done that I don't think I, as a painfully self-conscious, depressed teen, needed to do. I don't think I needed to be hired to do a "is the main character gay" bit because I am androgynous. I don't think I needed to have my cleavage accentuated at 15 years old. It absolutely affected the way I viewed myself and damaged my self-esteem permanently. I weighed about 100 pounds and had a goal weight of 85. I was not allowed to be the fat kid. Story 7. Dilution is the solution to pollution. I work in the industrial cleaning industry. You wouldn't believe the things I've seen. I've been to kill plants, chicken, beef, pork, pet food processing plants, hospitals, hotels, schools, you name it. I've been there. They all stand behind this motto. The EPA stands behind this motto. OSHA stands behind this motto. And you think recycling matters. Without oversight, this planet is literally being poisoned. We are being poisoned. No one in a high-value position cares. This is how some people get paid and put food on their table, by turning a blind eye. Story 8. Stepping barefoot in a puddle of hydrofluoric acid, or exposing that much skin to the stuff in general, is absolutely lethal, and no one would really be able to know what happened to you. Nor would you even think much about it at the time if you weren't aware of what it was. Hydrofluoric is technically a weak acid, think vinegar, so it's not going to burn you like hydrochloric or sulfuric acid would. However, you'll start developing vague flu-like symptoms and stop breathing in around 3 days unless you treat the exposure immediately. Calcium gluconate gel is the gold standard. The extremely simplified explanation is that it just draws enough calcium away from the stuff that keeps you alive, and unless you neutralize it with a big whopping dose of the stuff locally, you're pretty much doomed. While its use is fairly specialized, it's not nearly as controlled as one would expect, given just how dangerous it is. Story 9. Little late to the party, but I do electrical safety work for power systems in large factories, and those things can be nightmare fuel. Everyone knows about electric shock. You touch something that is live, and the electricity passes through your body. It can cause you to lock up, grip, and be unable to let go, or even kill outright. Fewer people know about electric arc flash. Instead of the electricity going through you, it can go through the air to reach another conductor. Doing this creates an immense amount of heat that essentially causes a small explosion. Small arc flashes are scary but survivable with the right PPE arc rated, not just fire resistant. Large arc flashes are only survivable in arc flash suits that are just bomb suits. People outside of electrical work probably aren't familiar with arc flash suits, but electricians can tell you they're no joke. And they shouldn't be, because that level of heat turns you from biology into physics. Very quickly. Story 10. If antibiotic misuse and overuse continues, we're going to have lots of deaths from previously treatable bacterial infections and diseases. A lot more drug-resistant infections are popping up and hardly any antibiotics work on it. Lots in elderly and in general. Most patients are in contact precautions, isolation gown, mask, gloves, in hospital to not spread to other patients at risk. Lots of it is hospital-acquired too, so it's a vicious cycle of transmission. It also takes multiple years to develop new antibiotics, and these things are becoming resistant faster than we can keep up. We're looking at, in a worst-case scenario if this continues, a world where an infected cut can kill you because nothing can treat it. Story 11, I used to be a teacher. Every year or every so many years we have professional development sessions to attend where we are sold on a curriculum and how this one will help our children, blah blah. It's a whole big thing. There's buy-in, there's the excitement, and a whole dog and pony show about why this curriculum is the right one for our kids because of course it's about the kids and they come first. Color me surprised when a teacher asked, "When are we doing curriculum training on this particular thing?" And the district person says some crap about how it's not on sale anymore, so we are no longer using it. And actually, we are buying this one now, because if we sign up for this training and invite this speaker to come here, we get 30% off the curriculum for the next 3 years. Rinse and repeat. Education is a freaking business. The curriculums aren't special for the kids, they're on sale. Story 12. That foreign IT contractors, mainly from India, working in the healthcare industry likely share their passwords and/or computer screens with unvetted friends who view confidential patient information. I believe this is true because I could often hear them talking to each other while on the phone with me. I'd help a contractor with something like logging in, but there would be a whole room full of guys on the other end of the phone. And not across the room. Like literally sitting next to the contractor talking to him. I suspect maybe they were sharing the workload. One guy's salary split between multiple people can still be a lot of money over there.